Welcome everybody. You're watching 𝗓𝗂𝗍𝗲𝗍 Data Science. Feel free to reach out on my socials. Today we will focus on an important topic with the use of headers and user agent when web scraping or using testing automation software. It can be very frustrating when you get blocked or denied access. If this happened to you, I'm creating a series of videos with various techniques to employ when you're using these tools. Nothing is foolproof, by the way.
Disclaimer. Do not act like a pirate pillaging and plundering. Act responsible and ethically while collecting data when web scraping.
First thing I could suggest would be looking into your HTTP headers. When an HTTP transaction occurs, such as a request, the client, your browser, sends the request to a server. The server will then take a great deal of information from you to determine if it is safe and if you are trustworthy to connect. You will get a response back which will have some information suggesting if you were accepted, denied, or some other error. During this process, there is a huge amount of information that is shared. Consider up to 1,000, maybe even more parameters. It's crazy when you think about it. Your header is the first line of action, and if this is wrong or something suspicious pops up, you're going to have problems. HTTP libraries such as those in Python, Scrappy, Java Axiom, and Request by default ignore headers, or if they provide them, it's random. Request library is an example of this. Consider your library telling on you, and you need to intervene to correct this. During testing with web scraping, you will ultimately get blocked, fall into a honey trap, or encounter other obstacles. The important part is diligently closing the leaks and patching anything you can to limit vulnerabilities. At some point, you will hear something called a headless browser. You will have no idea what this is or what it means, but it may seem magical and mystifying. When you use a headless browser, you are hiding the information shown as well as saving resources such as opening pop-ups for each process you run. There can be drawbacks from this. It's important that you add a few steps or layers in order to go undetected. You cannot use the headless browser alone and think that that will suffice. Let's look further and see what I'm talking about. To combat this, consider adding custom headers alongside the headless browser. This may sound counterproductive, but hear me out. You can now update the server to think you're using a specific header information and also rotate them, which means you can have a list of inputs. This would help a lot. Making tons of requests brings attention, especially from one user and in a short amount of time. It can look like a pattern of behavior that gets you flagged. Break up the calls and make it randomized. Your library can add tags as well, showing the server you're from Python, using testing automation software. This is another issue that you need to consider. You will encounter a slew of issues with the default settings. I will suggest that you start one by one trying to adjust your code to account for this. Your IP address is another issue that can get you flagged really easily. Your digital footprint has a lot of information that has severe consequences if you go in blindly web scraping. Something else you should consider, disabling blink. This is like a homing beacon notifying everyone that you're using test or automation software. In Selenium, you could turn this off. Let me show you the command. As we can see, it's options.add_argument. And we have the disable blink features. This is going to be pretty contentious for some people who are not into the web scraping or automation software. Yes, I did make a disclaimer in the beginning, so don't get mad if this is something you're opposed to. Next, thinking that the headless browser will save you from everything is incorrect. We need to do some formatting to help. Look at the code block below, and I want to show some important bits. Next, we need to reconsider this headless browser so we can save ourselves from a world of hurt later. Let's look at this code block and figure out a few things. First, the options argument we will add has 3 variations, as we can see here, depending on which version of Selenium we use. Number 2, the window size. This is something that's often overlooked. Think of the window that you're viewing a tab in or some pop-up. You want to mimic something with a correct resolution, something that's not odd. There's tables online that can give you common resolutions, and you can do rotations through your script so it looks like different users are using different window screens, but you should also update the other variables such as your headers and your user agents while you're doing this. 3. The user agent. There's common user agents that you can find and list online that'll help you out as well. Be careful when you're using something that's super old because it may trigger something, or if you don't have all of the other parameters adjusted with this, it's going to look fishy. So I just want to let you know about that. Please understand, these are tools to help you learn. Not just one of these techniques is going to help you. It'll be the use of many techniques to close leaks and patch them so the browser cannot know that you're a bot. Rotate your user agents. Use real user agents and make sure that your browser coincides with your user agent. You will get hangups if this isn't correct. It's very important. If your code is working, consider this example you see here with 𝗓𝗓𝗄𝗵𝗵𝗐. This website will allow you to check if your browser information is correct that you're using. There's a lot of examples. You can Google it, but I think it's a good tip for you. Within the browser, the header will show information of us acting like a bot. I provided 6 examples that you should consider when forming or dealing with headers. Number 1, testing software that we can deploy can directly say that we are a scraper, a bot, or we are crawling. Number 2, Google and Safari use tags that we should consider called accept language. Look at the highlighted portion that I provided so you can get an understanding of what I'm talking about. I would like to mention VPNs, Tor browser, or incognito may show different results, especially for the language parameters. Take that into consideration for your geolocation. Number 3, accept encoding. This deals with the compression algorithms during the hashing process. Here's a few examples. Feel free to pause the video at any time. Number 4, referrer header. This is where the request is coming, such as a website you add to it, like a reference of where you are or are sending data from. Number 5 is the connection. This decides if the connection will stay open or closed after the current transaction. You can have 2 options, keep alive and close. Pause the video to read this because it's very important for number 5. HTTP 2 and 3 started differing in the way they were processing alive, or keep alive. That's a specific instance that you should keep aware of. Number 6, accept headers. Here's a few examples, pause the video for it, but essentially it's just the content that the client can understand. And each request that you send will have different forms of content. You can see the different forms of content if you pause this video. This was a bit of a dense video. I hope you're able to stick around. There's a part 2 because it was just too much to talk about in one video. The next one won't be as long and dense. But web scraping is not easy. There's a lot of nuances you need to take into consideration. I hope you didn't get bored. I tried my best. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe, turn on that notification bell. I'd appreciate it. If you thought that I brought something useful to the table, consider buying me a coffee at the very least, or comment in the comments section. Next video will be featuring the second part of this, and then I got some AI stuff coming. Not sure what the order is, but see you in the community tab.